Hi again, everyone. This is Matt Stolenwork, your distance education specialist. This is post number 8 of my 10-part blog series on developing your Moodle course for the fall. So in this post, I'm going to demonstrate the tools in Moodle's forum activity. I'll also share some tips for running an effective forum discussion. But before we talk about forums, you'll probably notice that Moodle's look has changed a little bit from my previous posts. We upgraded to a new Moodle version, and at the same time, we redesigned the banner to give kind of like to give a fresh start to the new school year. So I hope you like that. Now, as far as the upgrade, all the functions are pretty much the same. There are some new ones. The big difference is really where some of the tools are located. And an example, actually, to start off, I can just show you right here. This is the navigation bar at the top. There's a new user menu at the top here. When you're logged in, it shows your name and your profile picture that you did upload, right? If you pull that down, you'll have access to some of the tools we actually talked about in previous posts. You can view your profile here. You can set edit your preferences on your profile and notifications here. And I'm going to actually talk about messages later. You can also log out here as well. When you're actually in your course, and I'm actually going to go to a course right now, one change that's a little different is when you're editing the summary of a section, such as when I added the syllabus here. You remember how there was a gear icon at the bottom of the summary for editing it? Well, that's moved. It's now at the top. It's this pull down right here, Edit Section. This is what you'll select now in order to edit this. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to forums. So I'll go ahead and open a forum in my Moodle course. I'm going to just zip down to my assignments section here and choose this forum right here. Okay, so there are different types of forums that you may have selected for your forum. Again, a quick review. They are the standard form, which I guess most people use because it's the default. But there is one that stands out from the others, the single simple discussion. And this is the discussion where each person posts, I'm sorry, if it's a discussion that's based on a single question. So if you have an activity where you just have a single question and you want to generate discussion based on that question, this is the one to use. Everyone can see all the posts of this one discussion at the same time, and there's no distraction of other topics. However, if you want your students to each submit a formal response for others to comment on, like having a separate topic where everybody comments on that topic, then I'll recommend one of these standard forums, which allows multiple topics. There's one where each person can only create one topic for the discussion. There's the one where you create the topics and then your students respond to those topics and they can't see anyone else's responses until they have posted theirs. There's the one that's shown like a blog-like format, which is just a different way of displaying where you can actually see everybody's posts. But I'm going to choose the standard form for general use because it's probably the one that you're going to use if you don't use the single forum, the single topic forum. Okay, so you probably notice if you're using one of the other forums, you're going to see a lot of the same tools that I'm showing here. They might look a little different, but they function basically the same way. So I'm going to go back to my topic. I'll cancel here. Here's my discussion. Now you'll notice that the description that you entered into your forum appears at the top. And then under that will be the topics. Now you'll notice I have a couple of students that have already posted topics related to this question. And for each of the topics, you'll see there's a discussion name that the student created. Who started the discussion. how many replies there are to that discussion, how many I have not read yet, and this will appear if you've selected under the user's preferences to track forums, and the most recent last post. Now these topics are sorted chronologically based on what was the most recent last post. That's the one that's going to appear at the top, and there's really no way you can change that. So I'm going to open up one of these. I'm going to open this topic right here. I just select the discussion name and it comes up, and you'll notice this is the topic that student posted right here, this topic. The student who created or the person who created the topic, their topic always appears at the top. Okay, and the replies to that topic appear below that topic. Okay, let me show you some display options that you can use, and these are specific to the user. Your students will have different ways of viewing this than you would have. They get to choose that, and that's right here. Right now it's a nested form. You'll notice that student's topic is here. This is a reply to this topic, it's indented. This is a reply to this topic, and so it's indented. But you notice this one, the indent isn't as great. It's at the same level of this one, so that means it's replying to this one too. It can be a little bit confusing, especially if it's really involved. I like it because I can see all the replies at once. I can see different conversations altogether. But if it gets really complex, you might want to change the view to threaded form. What that does is it collapses replies under the topic so that you just see a summary, and you actually have to click on the reply in order to read it. It's a little more focused. It gives it a little more order, but it's up to you whether you want to do that. There are also a couple of flat forums. One in which, well, the nesting goes away. I'll do the oldest first. Topic at the top. Notice all of them are at the same level. They're listed chronologically, so there's no real connection to which one's replying to what. It's mostly for if you expect each reply to be responding to the one before it. It's a little more straightforward, it's cleaner, but it might not show all the information that you might want. Just so you know, if you choose newest first, notice that the topic is still, even though this was the oldest post, it still appears at the top, so don't let that confuse you. Okay. All right. So, one thing I want to show really quickly is if you're doing nested, for example, and if this is a really long conversation and you're losing track of who's replying to what, for example, you don't know who this is replying to, you can choose Show Parent, and it'll jump up to the original, the parent reply to that post. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and reply to one of these. It's important to know where you are as far as replying. You might think if I'm replying here, I'm continuing this conversation, but really I'm not. If I reply here, I'm only replying to this post right here. It's not going to be related to those posts, just this one. If I want to reply to this post, I have to choose this reply, and it will appear all the way down here below this post. Okay, but I'm going to reply to this one. I'm going to choose reply. Okay, so here's an example reply. It looks very familiar. You can change the subject of the post, but I try not to do that because it maintains the continuity of the post to keep the subject intact. I can type my message here. I can add an attachment here. Just so you know, you can restrict student attachments. You can limit the number of attachments or keep them from attaching any at all in this edit settings, which we covered in a previous post. You can automatically subscribe to a discussion here. I'll talk about that in a moment. And there's an item right here called Mail Now, and I talked about that briefly previously, but in more detail, when a student makes a post, they have this 30-minute window where they can edit or delete their post before it's made public, or well, before it can be changed. Now you don't have that limitation, but you still have that 30-minute lag time. If you're okay with your post and you're ready to just send it out and have it distributed so students are notified, you can just check mail now and it'll be sent out right away. Okay, when you're done, you choose post a forum and it will appear in the list. Okay, now if you see a reply that has started its own robust conversation on its own, maybe it has several responses to it and it kind of goes off on a tangent from the original post, you might choose to split that conversation. If you choose split, what it does is it creates a new topic within the forum, so students can access it directly within the main forum instead of having to dig into another topic. Also, while you're viewing student responses, you can choose to edit or delete a student's response. You want to be careful about using these options. You want to let students know beforehand that you have this power and to share with them what are appropriate posts for discussions. And then if you do need to make an edit or a delete, make sure the student understands your reasons for doing that, why you altered it or why you removed the reply. That just makes sure that students feel safe that that they have ownership of their conversations, and they can be accountable for them. All right. Let's see. Oh, okay. Let's say I'm done with this topic here. I can navigate to the next topic by going to the top of the topic and selecting the next. And it shows a snippet of the text of the next topic. I can go to the next one, or I can go to the previous topic, or if I want, I can just go back to the main forum page and see all the topics together. Okay, I'm going to jump back in here and show you. You'll probably notice there's a link right here called subscribed. We talked about that a little bit when we were setting our notification preferences. Subscribing to a forum turns on the Moodle feature that sends you notifications of new forum posts. Those notifications will appear as pop-ups in your browser, or they'll appear as emails in your inbox. Now, that depends upon the user preferences you selected up here under Preferences. And it toggles on and off. So if it says subscribe, it means I won't receive notifications. If it says subscribed, it means I will. And you'll get notifications of every post that appears. But again, under Preferences, you can make a digest out of it, so you just get a daily single email of all the posts. Now, as an instructor, you really won't need to be sent forum notifications for assignments as long as you have a regular schedule of reviewing those forum posts. However, I do highly recommend that you subscribe to any informal forums you have, like a lounge or a Q&A, because those posts are more irregular. So, and a post might come up that you might need to attend to immediately. It might be a timely post that you need to respond to. So that might be something you do want to subscribe to. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the main page again, main forum page again. And you'll notice that there is Add a New Discussion Topic button here. This allows you to add a new topic to the discussion just like your students did, so you can add yourself to the conversation, or you want to add a new question or add something to an informal lounge. Maybe you want to participate like you're dropping in and create your own topic. The last thing I'd like to show is search forums. If you have some really big conversations going on in your course, it might be difficult to track some of the conversations. You might want to review one later. You can just type some text in here, a string of text that you know is in the post, and it will return to you all the posts that contain that text. If you choose the search forums button without typing any text, it'll bring up an advanced search, so you can search based on a number of different criteria. Okay, well, that's a good overview of the tools. I'd like to take just a couple minutes to provide a few tips on how you can better ensure that you have successful online discussions in your own course. So you should already have included in your syllabus what students can expect from you as far as your participation in forums. Things such as what days you'll be reviewing posts and adding replies or feedback. Um, be sure to make good on your commitment to that you'll be reviewing discussions at regular intervals so students don't expect you to always be responding to them like minutes after they post, but then again, don't leave them waiting like a week or two. Um, and if you do, certainly let them know if something's come up because they want that feedback. They want to know that their instructor is paying attention and participating just as they are. Um, it's, it's extra important to be attentive the first few weeks of the course. You want to provide extra feedback to make sure students are on track, make sure they're meeting your expectations. It's also a good way to encourage students to continue posting and contributing and conversing, not just doing the minimum necessary, to get a grade, but to actually be engaged with the conversation, to have a back and forth, to really grapple with whatever issue that they're working with. You can always ease off later in the course as students get their rhythm. So it is just a way to get things going. Another way to encourage student participation early in the course, you might want to take the lead on posting to some of the forums. For example, you probably have a forum at the beginning of your course for students to introduce themselves. And if you don't, I really recommend that you do add one. So anyway, in this introduction, you might want to go ahead and post your own introduction first just to get the ball rolling. And other people can read yours and get to know you and get an idea for, oh, okay, here's my introduction. It's also a good idea, perhaps, to post a model reply to your first forum assignment. That way students will be a little more confident in their own posts if they can see just what you expect of them. You should have at least one informal lounge type forum for students to start their own discussions, ones that they're in control of. It's a place for them to ask open questions to you and to each other. It's a place where they can share news, maybe offer some tips and resources, or any other items that really aren't a strict part of the curriculum but still will be really useful to people in the course. Actively encourage your students to use this resource, and be sure to actively monitor the forum yourself. Maybe you want to answer questions that students post in there. Maybe you're the only one who can answer questions. It's a chance for you to get a feel of where the class is. You get to know who the personalities are. You get to see some more stories that might not have made it into the assignments. You can catch problems early that students bring up between each other, maybe address some issues. It's a chance for students to know, again, that you are participating in the conversation and that you're involved with their coursework and what they're working on over the course of the term. Okay, and last of all, hopefully you are going to use the news forum to send out an announcement before the first day of the term that welcomes students to the class. You might want to add reminders and some updated course information, but primarily it's about sharing with students your excitement about the beginning of the course. Now you don't have to stop there. You can use the news forum throughout the course, throughout the term, to provide reminders of upcoming assignments, especially long-term assignments. Maybe you need to announce a change to the schedule, or maybe you found some new resources you want to share with the class. Maybe it's a chance for you to address some recurring issues that have been popping up with individual students. You can talk to the entire class as a group to make sure that they understand what your expectations are. It's also a place to provide encouragement. Maybe you're feeling a lull in the class, or you know something a particularly challenging part of the course is coming up. It's a chance for you to reach out to the students to let them know you're there to support them and provide moral support for them. Okay, so hey, forums are just one way you and your students can communicate with each other in Moodle. There are lots of other informal ways that your students and you can connect with each other. In my next post coming this Monday, we'll cover how to send messages within Moodle that you can send to individual students or to a group of students. We'll also take a little look at Moodle's real-time communication tools like chat and the new one that we have installed called Big Blue Button. These can provide you and your students with a lot of other ways to communicate with each other. So until then, take a last look at your own course forums and see if they're set up the way you want. And you might want to consider adding a model post for your students. Well, that's it for now. I'll see you again on Monday. Bye-bye.